Hey everyone, Mac here, and we are working on quadratic equations. This is the big one, okay? And this is the big quadratic formula, opposite of b, plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. All right, and so hopefully after doing version A and B, you've got that memorized or feeling good about it. This is version C. If you don't know where version A and B are, simply go to maxtutorials.com. And there's a section called Quadratic Equations, and that's where you'll be able to find this, okay? All right, let's go ahead and get to work. I'm going to assume that you've seen the other videos. I'm going to leave the formula up here for the first couple, and then we're just going to keep moving on. So right here, my A is going to be 2, my B is going to be 1, and my C is going to be negative 2. Now, I explained this earlier, but just to make sure this is the first problem, this is your A, that is your B, and that is your C. Whatever's in front of the x squared is your A, whatever's in front of the x is the B, and whatever the number is floating out is going to be your C. Now we're going to put it in opposite of B, which means change the sign of the B, okay? So it's going to be a negative 1 plus or minus, let's keep that there, the square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C all over 2A. I didn't do anything fancy there. All I did was plug in. All right, now I'm going to do some math. The first math you do is what's inside the parenthesis. Don't try to do it all in your head. Do the square first, then do the stuff after the minus sign. Now think about that as negative 4. Negative times a positive times a negative. Get your sign right. That's going to be a plus. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. All of this over 4. Okay, I'm going to go up here just for room, and I'm going to get 1 plus or minus square root of 17 over 4. I can't break down 17, so I'm done. That's it. That's my answer. Okay, let's go on and do number 2. What's my A on this one? A is 3. What's my B? Now, it's a negative in front, pardon me, so it's going to be a negative 1. And the C is also going to be a negative 1. Now, let's plug all that into that. Opposite of B, that's a plus 1. Because it was a negative 1, now it's going to be a positive 1. Plus or minus the square root of B squared, that's a negative 1 squared, minus 4 times A times C, all over 2A. That becomes 1 plus or minus square root, negative 1 squared, it's just a normal 1, negative 4 times 3 is a negative 12, times negative 1 is a positive 12, all over 6. Well, that's going to become 1 plus or minus root 13 over 6. Boom. And that's it, my friends. That's the answer. Okay, let's keep going on to number 3. Now I'm going to blow this up just a little bit. This is going to become A equals 4, B equals 4, C equals negative 1. Do you guys remember the formula? It's not up there, but do you remember it? It's opposite of B, plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC, all over 2A. All right, keep doing the problems. You're going to memorize it. You're not going to need a trick. You're just going to get it because you've done it a lot. That's going to give me negative 4 plus or minus square root of, what is 4 squared? 16. Now look, a negative times a positive times a negative. There are 2 negatives, so that's going to be a positive. And I'm going to get 16 under there, all over 8. That becomes negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 32 over 8. Now 32, if I break it down, I'll do it right over here, 32. That breaks down to 8 times 4, which breaks down to 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. There's a pair of 2's, pull it out. There's a pair of 2's, pull it out, and a pair of 2 left over for root 2. So this is really just 4, negative 4, plus or minus 4 root 2 over 8. Now, the way you can see this is that 8 goes to the left of the plus and minus and to the right of the plus minus. So that's going to reduce to negative 1 over 2 plus or minus 1 over 2, but it's going to be square root of 2 because that 4 is going to cancel out over 4. That's going to be a 2. Okay, which is negative 1 plus or minus root 2 over 2. Just think of it like this. 1, 2, 1, and the 2. Okay, and so that's one way. I'll show you some different ways as well as we go on. Number 4, A is going to be 5, B is going to be negative 2, C is going to be negative 1. Cool? All right, so what's the opposite of B? Well, right now B is negative 2, so the opposite, I'm going to go just a normal 2. Okay, plus or minus the square root of B squared. That's going to be negative 2 squared minus 4 times A times C. Ooh, keep that over there. All over 2A. Well, that's going to become 2 plus or minus square root of. What's the negative 2 squared? That's just a positive 4. Negative times a positive times a negative. That's going to be a plus 20 all over 10, which is 2 plus or minus square root of 24 over 10. Well, I bet you I can break 24 down. That's going to be a 6 times 4, which is going to be a 2 times 2. And this is going to be a 3 times 2. I did this all. I have a section at maxtutorials.com about what we call just simplifying the radical. And that's what we're doing right now. So I have a pair of 2's, root 6. So if that was a little bit weird to you, go back and watch that section before doing the quadratics, and it'll make you feel way more comfortable. That's going to equal now 2 plus or minus, instead of root 24, I'm going to write 2 root 6 over 10. Okay, both 2's will reduce with the 10. They both become 1's, and that becomes a 5. So my answer is going to be 1 plus or minus root 6, because I don't need to write that 1, all over 5. Boom, done. All right, let's go on to number 5. Okay, so this one is going to be A equals 6, B equals 1, C equals negative 2. All right, so we're going to go opposite of B, negative 1, plus or minus square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C all over 2A. Okay, which is going to become negative 1 plus or minus square root of 1. What's negative times a positive times a negative? That's going to be a positive. 4 times 6 is 24. 24 times this is going to be 48. Ooh, this one's going to be an interesting one, isn't it? You can tell right now, which is going to be negative 1 plus or minus square root of 49 over 12, which this one is going to equal negative 1 plus or minus 7 over 12. Okay, well, I'm going to write this 2 different ways. First, I'm going to write negative 1 plus 7 over 12. And then I'm going to write negative 1 minus 7 over 12. Okay, I'm just doing the plus minus. Negative 1 plus 7 equals a positive 6 over 12, or 1/2. And this one is going to equal, when I do my add a line, change a sign, I'm going to get a negative 8 over 12, which is going to give me a negative 2/3 when I reduce. And that, my friends, is number 5. All right, let's go on to number 6. Okay, so number 6 right here, sorry, woo, kind of went crazy there. There we go. 6. A is going to equal 7. B is going to equal negative 4. C is going to equal negative 1. Okay? So now, here we go. What is going to be? It's going to be opposite of B. So opposite of B, well, I have a negative 4. So that's just going to be a positive 4. Plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C. Keep that covered. All over 2A. Okay, and that's going to become 4 plus or minus square root of. What is negative 4 squared? That's just a 16. Negative times a positive times a negative gives me a plus 28. Okay, and then when I do that, it's going to be all over 14, which is going to be 4 plus or minus. Now, what's 16 plus 28? That looks a lot to me like that's going to be a 44 over 14. I bet you I could break down 44, but that's going to be 11 times 4. I can't break down 11. That's a 2 times 2. So 2 root 11. So that turns into 4 plus or minus 2 root 11 over 14. This one I think is going to be a little bit easier to split. So I'm going to write 4 over 14 plus or minus 2 root 11 over 14. Now, when I reduce them, that's going to reduce to a 2 over 7. That's going to reduce to a 1 over 7. And when I put them together, it's going to be a 2 plus or minus root 11 all over 7. Okay, I just put them all under one fraction. All right, let's keep going, guys. I got 2 more to show you, and then you guys should be pros at quadratic equation. A equals 1, B equals a negative 3, C equals 1. Opposite of B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C all over 2A. All right, which turns into 3 plus or minus square root of negative 3 squared is 9. Negative 4 times 1 is just minus 4 all over 2, which becomes 3 plus or minus root 5 over 2. Nothing more I can do. We are done. That is the answer. Okay, let's keep going. Last one. My A, stop. There we go. A equals 2, B equals 2, C equals 3. All right, here we go. So if my B equals 2, I'm going to go opposite of B, plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C all over 2A. Just plugging in. It's a lot of 2's. Negative 2 plus or minus square root of 2 squared is 4. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Negative 8 times 3 is going to be a negative 24 all over 4. And I'm going to get a negative 2 plus or minus square root of negative 20 over 4. Well, boom. Once I see that negative 20, I cannot do a negative underneath the square root. I just can't do it. So my answer is boom, boom, no solution. Okay, and hopefully that says that on my answer key down here, which it does. No real solutions, okay? So good job, everybody. That is a lot of writing, and that is the quadratic equation. So hopefully that worked for you. If it did, hey, hit a like, subscribe to this, get some more stuff. If you're confused on stuff, write a comment. If there was something that you thought really helped you, let me know. If there's something that still confused you, let me know. I'd love to keep tweaking these and making these even better for you. All right, so now the question is, you're given a quadratic equation, something that looks like this. How do you know which method to use? Do you factor out? Do you complete the square? Do you do quadratic equation? Well, I've got a video on that, which is mixed practice, and we're going to give you strategies on how to quickly come up with these. Thanks, guys.